Hi everybody. I have a wonderful friend with me today, and probably most of you already know who she is anyhow. It's Leslie Richards. And I'm going to tell you how I know Leslie, but also you need to know, um, was it everything that moves is because of you? So Leslie was like
A
Secretary of
lot of
Penn.
things.
A lot of things moved because of Leslie. So like PennDOT, Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, that was Leslie. She was the secretary of PennDOT. She was the CEO of SEPTA. And now she's at Penn and is launching this unbelievable transportation initiative. It's called the Richards Transportation Initiative at Penn. And she's just this very special, inclusive person, and that's why. What are these are all like PennDOT, SEPTA, all what multi-billion-dollar organization that she's run, and she's a wonderful leader. She leads by example. That's how I know her. Um, is watching her lead and people being truly inspired by her. So, Leslie, thank you first of all for being here and for us being able to chat because I think people do want to hear from you and what you think. And so, um, and one other thing is that I met Leslie because I was invited to this small dinner to thank someone who was leaving their position, and there was like one seat open, and everybody was kind of like buzzing, and I was like, and I had just come in. I'm like, okay, I'll sit next to the open seat, and then this woman comes in, and everybody's like, ah. And of course, it was you. And so that was, I consider, one of the very lucky days because we became friends and got to know each other and do a lot of great things
I
together.
remember that day. That was 10 years ago already.
Was it 10 years?
I was just thinking, yeah, it was 2015.
Yeah. So first of all, if I can just say thank you, because you have really, you lead by example. You did a women's leadership luncheon with 100 women where you talked about, sticking up for women and others who are, who have a tough time, and you truly lead by example. So I had to say that. I hope that's okay, but that's what that's how I feel. And so actually we all want to hear from you. Like, when was that moment when you decide to bet on yourself?
Sure, it's a great question, and I have really enjoyed hearing everyone's answers to this. For me, it's the one job I've had that you have not mentioned, and that is when I ran for public office. I didn't come from a political background, but I have always believed that, leadership means stepping forward when you see a need. And for me, betting on myself has always been, about that courage to act before all the answers are clear, right? You take that first step, you're not really sure where you're heading, which is funny for someone who's been in transportation all their life to admit. But running for office for me was really that kind of leap. It was putting myself out there in an extremely uncomfortable way. You have to raise money, you have to build a campaign team, you have to ask people to believe in you and in your vision and your ability to get things done. And it really taught me that you need that courage, but you also need the connection with people. And that goes in hand in hand. And when you have both of those things, um, really, you can get so much done and have a lot of fun doing it at the same time. So
And
that
so and
lesson
so
was a big
you
one.
so no, I love that. And so okay, you decided to take this giant leap of faith and you're in the middle of it, and there are times when you're like, oh no, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Have I, how'd you deal with that? Because, or was it like, I'm going for it, I made the decision, no turning back, I'm gonna get it.
No, I questioned it. I questioned it after I said yes. This was to run locally for a township supervisor position in the township that I lived in. after having helped with some park and rec issues and some planning commission issues. And what helped me is asking my neighbors and telling my neighbors and asking them, hey, what do you think? I think I'm going to put my name in. I've been asked to do this. And when I started to hear their positive responses, because sometimes you don't always see what you have to offer. And then all of a sudden, I had neighbors saying, I'm going to have a meet and greet for you. I'm going to have a fundraiser for you. I'm going to introduce you to my cousin who's in politics, who's going to be able to help you. And people just kept coming forward. The more and more I spoke about it, the more people wanted to help. And so that's always also been something that I learned early is to ask for help when you need it, or ask for guidance, or let people know that you don't have this all figured out, but you really hope it works out this way and you're going to do everything you can. And so that has also been extremely a good thing throughout my entire career.
I think you're known, I know you're known for paying it forward. And was that in part because of what you just described, that people really believed in you, they leaned in, they were givers? I mean, what is it that makes you want to give back?
Absolutely. I love being part of a team.
Mm.
And while I've always played, sports, but like casually, I'm not the best athlete. But at college, I tried out for the rugby team and I made it. I made the starting team.
You were at the rugby team
And
at Brown?
I
That's
was.
pretty cool.
I loved it. And I loved being part of a team. Of course, a team where you can get tackled, it really bonds you with your teammates. Um, but it's fantastic. And how everyone has a different responsibility and how you really need people who can, you need to communicate well. You need to have each other's backs, right? You need to guard each other. You need to see the play that is being formed, but also be able to pivot when something changes in the middle of that. And being part of that team, and I'm still very good friends with the team I played with,
Mm.
um, really also shaped how I like to work, and it's collaboration. And so I know you asked me, how am I betting on myself? But it's really how do I bet on my team? Because you share your vision, you share where you want to go, then you surround yourself with good people who also share that vision or want to help you, or they may have another reason to see it through. But working together and collaborating, again, you can really get a lot done as a team.
I love that. Yeah, no, as you know, I don't joke. I'm serious that the people who work around me, they're actually better than I am. Um, but the fact that it's true, that's what great success is. Do you think that's how you were able to be so successful in the statewide job of, PennDOT secretary at SEPTA was because of you? It sounds like you empowered others to be part of that team. That it doesn't sound
Absolutely.
like, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but it doesn't sound like, there was a lot of hierarchy over there.
These are big jobs. And I don't know anybody who could do them by themselves. I know I could not do it by myself. And I also know I wouldn't want to do it by myself.
Mm.
Because you want to share in those wins and you also want to share when things don't go well, right? You have to, okay, what are our lessons learned? Let's regroup, let's get our focus back. And for me, that's a lot easier to do with others, right? Than to do, it's very hard to do it, right? Inside your own head all the time. And so I wouldn't have been able to accomplish really, I can't think of one accomplishment that I've had that I would have been able to do by myself.
Mhm.
And you need to delegate. Everybody brings their own strengths. You know your own weaknesses and strengths, and you want to complement those. So, I always know that I have to bring someone in who's extremely organized because that is not my strength. And time and time again, I've been so fortunate because I get someone who makes sure that the schedule is set and makes sure that, the timing is down and everything. And I lean on that person. And so there's a lot of other examples of people that I need to lean on, right? To help me with communications, to help me in writing certain reports out. And then there are other things that I can help other people with. And you know, that's what makes the work so enjoyable, but also that makes the work so influential and powerful and sustainable.
I do believe that you are known for, your leadership and you've just like naturally given examples. So you mentioned, people making mistakes. Like, how do you deal with that, as a leader?
Right. You share, right? You become very vulnerable. You say, look, I really thought this was going to work, but it didn't turn out the way that I thought. What do you think? Is there something that we can go back and change? Is it something that we have to learn our lesson and move on? But those conversations are extremely useful, right? And needed. No one starts out of the gate and, bats 1,000 every single time, right? There's always going to be lessons to be learned. There's always things that you can improve. There's always new information coming in. You make very important decisions with the best information you have at the time, but then sometimes something changes. And so now you have different information. And you have to be brave enough to pivot, and you have to be brave enough to course correct when you're
Mhm.
heading in the wrong direction, because you don't want to double down on a bad idea either. And you also want to give your team, um, you want to give your team the belief that they can come to you when they see things going wrong, right? It's that psychological safety that they can question you, that they can come to you at any time and say, I don't really feel good about this. And this is why I think we should try something different. And I think that is a very important piece to a successful team.
Well, the bottom line is, I think you are very important to all of us. I'm really serious. And thank you actually for betting on yourself years ago because you've become this wonderful, you lead and by example, and others follow that. And that's the kind of leadership we all want and need. So thank you so much for spending some time with us. And you're the best.
Well, thanks. You know it's mutual, and thanks so much for highlighting this so that we can all learn from each other.